Good morning, everybody, and welcome to the August 6, 2024 regular council meeting for the town of Rocky Mountain House. I will go ahead and call this meeting to order. So just to start, 1.1, Councillor Shippo will not be in attendance for the next two council meetings, and we look forward to his return. 2.1, Acknowledgement of Indigenous Peoples. The town of Rocky Mountain House wishes to acknowledge that the land on which we gather is Treaty 6 territory and a traditional meeting ground and home for many Indigenous peoples, including the Blackfoot, Cree, Saulteaux, Stoney, and Métis. Moving on to adoption of the agenda. Do we have any changes to the adoption or to the agenda today? Councillor Phillips, and then I'll go to Councillor Hutchinson.
Yes, I just have an item 8.4, AB Munis Committees to add to the agenda.
Thank you.
Councillor Musker has his leg up.
That's fine. Councillor Hutchinson, and then I'll go to Councillor Musker.
Yes, I'd like to add 8.5, and that would be a discussion for free admission to the public for Alberta Day.
Okay, thank you. And Councillor Musker.
Yes, I just want to notify council that I'll be stepping out for agenda item 9.1.
Okay.
I'm a member of the Heritage Society.
Thank you. Any other changes this morning? Looking for a motion to accept as amended. Councillor Alt.
I'll make the motion to accept the agenda as amended.
Thank you. Any discussion on the motion? Seeing none, I'll call that to a vote. Those in favor? And none opposed, and that is carried. So we have no delegations for this morning. Adoption of the previous minutes. Did the meeting minutes look okay to everybody from last council meeting? Looking for a motion. Councillor Phillips.
I will make a motion to adopt the minutes of the July 16th meeting.
Thank you for your motion. Any discussion on the motion? Seeing none, I'll call that to a vote. Those in favor? And none opposed, and that is carried. So no delegation business. 7.1, non-residential tax incentive bylaw. And am I turning that over to you, Mrs. Quinlan, or is that Mr. Schwader?
I wasn't prepared, sorry.
Okay,
It's just a
so
third. Excuse me, Chair, I think it's just a third motion, is it not?
yeah.
Is it not just the third reading of the bylaw?
Yes.
Councillor Phillips is shaking his head no.
No, it's first reading for the non-residential land development tax. So does anyone have any questions then on the bylaw? Councillor Phillips.
Yes, just under 3.3 on the bylaw itself, it has a five-year term for this. I'm just wondering if is 5 years too short of a time period, and maybe it should be 7. That's just something that I'm thinking of.
Mayor Beach.
So I think we talked about that in the last meeting, and we had a discussion that in 3 or 4 years we could extend it, but this gives a shorter period of time to encourage people to get moving on things, because we really want to promote this development and get them to apply for it sooner than later. I believe that was the discussion we had before.
Just in regards to this, I think are you talking about the January 25th start date and December 31st, 2028 end date? I'm talking in reference to how long the actual tax incentives would last for once applied for.
Mayor Beach.
Yeah, I think it still stands the same. We want them to get going. It takes a while to get going. Did you have a recommendation that you thought would be like more sufficient?
I would like to see that go from 5 to 7 years on. It's 3.3B is the paragraph I'm looking at. I would just like to see that go from 5 to 7 years. Just subdivisions take time to sell, and I would just like to make sure that whatever developer we're discussing has more time than not enough.
Ms. Quinlan?
Oh, sorry, I didn't mean to turn it on.
Okay. No worries. I think for myself, I think I am okay with the 5 years. I know it does take time for subdivisions to get going, but I think 5 years is a good start. And hopefully we get some activity going on that. Does anybody else feel particularly strong, Councillor or Mayor Beach?
Yes, thank you, Chair. I agree. I think it should stay with the 5-year period, just as it's written. We want to get people moving on this and not wait to the last day.
Thank you. Any other discussion on this? Okay, seeing none. Does somebody want to make a motion? Mayor Beach?
I can make a motion to accept the first reading of the bylaw. Let me just turn to the right page. I have it all in there, right? First reading to the non-residential land development tax incentive bylaw 2024/11 as presented.
Thank you for your motion. Do we have any further discussion on the motion? Seeing none, I'll call that to a vote. Those in favor? And none opposed, and that is carried. Thank you. Okay, so under new business 8.1, we have the Rocky Mountain House 19202. Oh, Councillor Hutchinson, sorry.
As has been spoken by some of you others, I would like to see this go into effect sooner than later.
Okay.
So having said that, I would like to give second reading to the non-residential development tax incentive bylaw 2024/11.
Okay, do we have any discussion on that motion? Seeing none, I will go ahead and call that to a vote. Those in favor? And none opposed, and that is carried. Do we want to continue with this, or do we want to move on? Mayor Beach?
Yeah, I think because it's a significant bylaw, it's going to change, some things that we should give it the third reading at a upcoming meeting.
Sorry, was that a motion? I didn't catch the last part of what you had said.
Well, you need everyone to agree.
Yeah.
So I'm giving you,
Unanimous.
right, so I'm
Yeah.
telling you that I won't be agreeing and
Oh,
that we
okay.
should move it to a third meeting.
Okay, no problem. I think that's probably fine. We can move that to the next council meeting. Okay, so moving on, 8.1, we have the extension subdivision, and we have Mr. Schwader here.
Good
Go
morning,
ahead.
council. Just before council today in regards to a request from Creekside Developments for an extension for their subdivision file RMH 19202 that was done in 2019. It's for Phase 9. That's along 54th Street. This is the 5th year they've asked for an extension. They're presently working on Phase 8, which has 33 lots in Phase 8, which they've sold 6 of them, and there's housing being developed in that phase. So they've asked for an extension for this subdivision from council.
Thank you. Mayor Beach?
Have we, I'm in favor of extending. We need to help developers as much as we can. Have you had conversations with them to perhaps open up some of their lots for sale where you don't have to build a lay-bond house? People are very, desperate to, have their own lot and their own builder. And I'm just wondering if that would, speed up the sale of some of their lots and push the next development along. Have you had that conversation with them?
Mr. Kraus and I did have a conversation with him a few months ago in regards to that, and he's not in favor of that.
Okay, thank you. Do you have something to add, Mayor Beach?
Well, I sure would like, to further push him on that item because it's holding up, development in our community. And, there's people desperate for housing and, for whatever reason, if we could have those lots open to public sale, that would be fantastic.
Thank you. Councillor Musker?
Yes, thank you to Mr. Schwader. Is this unusual, 5 years of extensions, or is it simply because?
No,
it's
we've gone
develop-
as far as 9 years in previous. yeah,
Okay,
to
and I'm
other
guessing it's
developers.
simply because they're in a previous phase and the development's not happening as quickly as expected.
That is correct.
Okay. Thank you.
Any other discussion on this? If not, I'm looking for a motion. Counselor Alt?
If there's no more discussion, I'd make the motion that be it resolved that council grants an extension of time for subdivision file RMH 19202 to July 21st, 2025.
Thank you for your motion. Do we have any discussion on the motion? Seeing none, I'll call that to a vote. Those in favor? And none opposed, and that is carried. Thank you. Moving on to 8.2, we have the Youth Advisory Council bursary application. And Ms. Breeze, if you want to touch on that?
Thank you, Deputy Mayor and Council. So if everybody remembers, we did have a Youth Advisory Council that's still active, and of course, we will be promoting it again this fall. So we do have a member from the original council that is going to post-secondary school in well, I won't tell you where, because it doesn't really make a difference. So I do have his confirmation from the university directly. And so yes, this is just a natural part of the bursary process. Excuse me, I believe this is our third applicant to go through this process out of the original 8. And I believe it's pretty straightforward. He meets the requirements of the bursary, and he did attend youth council for 2 years. Actually, I believe he was our vice chair for a little while. And so I'll leave it up to council's decision.
Thank you. Counselor Auld, do you have, oh, okay, no, that's fine, thank you. Mayor Beach?
I think this is a great program to encourage students to be more involved engaged in with what happens on town council, and I'm happy that the bursary that has been budgeted for is going to be used this year.
Agreed. Any other discussion on this? If not, I'm looking for a motion. Counselor Musker?
Hey, I'll make that motion. Be it resolved, the council approve the bursary of $500 to Zachary Ponto and instruct administration to draft a letter of congratulations to the applicant.
Thank you for your motion. Any discussion on the motion? Seeing none, I'll call that to a vote. Those in favor? And none opposed, and that is carried. So moving on to 8.3, we have the quarterly financial update and analysis.
I'm sorry.
Oh, sorry, Counselor
Sorry.
Hutchinson.
I wanted to bring a second motion forward for the Youth Advisory Council to bring this back to service level review and maybe have a look at a redraft of that committee, maybe a restructuring, something along that line. So I don't know if anybody has any thoughts on that, but if we bring it back and have a look at it, and, you know, I've looked at some others, and they structure theirs a little bit differently. They only have to be committed for a year, or things like that. So I thought service level would be a good place to bring that back for discussion.
Sure. Thank you. Counselor Phillips, and then I'll go to Mayor Beach.
Thank you. I think that's a good idea. This was a great program. Unfortunately, we didn't get enough applicants to keep it going. But I definitely would like to see this maybe re-looked at, and as Counselor Hutchinson alluded at, maybe we redraft some of the terms of reference to make this more palatable. I remember when Zachary was on this committee, and he did a fantastic job, and it was fun to see him grow as the time went on. So I would like to see us look at this and make it happen again.
Thank you. Mayor Beach?
So I definitely agree that we should look at this again, but I think it should be brought to a governance and policy meeting so we can have a longer, fruitful discussion, so that when we get into service level review, we have a little bit better understanding of what our costs would be and how that would work, rather than just waiting till service level to have that. Let's have a discussion about it in September before we go to service level review, so we can. It needs some work on it. We haven't had any applications for a couple of years, and it wasn't full the first year that we did it in this term. So I think to have a longer, fruitful discussion would be in order before service level.
Great, thank you. Counselor Hutchinson?
Thank you. Just to Ms. Quinlan, the amount is still in the budget, or like we continue to have a dollar figure in the budget for this committee.
That's correct.
So I guess having said that, if it's already in there, I just think that service level would be a better place to have the discussion as opposed to a GPC meeting. And that's just my thoughts.
Mayor Beach?
Yeah, thank you very much, Chair. I still think it should be a policy discussion before we go into service level so that we can really have a good discussion about it. I certainly would like to maybe talk about a survey back to the students and that attended, and perhaps have a conversation with the two high school either guidance counselors or because they talk about, you know, what students are looking for their future and could maybe get us some help in filling those spots that we have budgeted for. And also, you know, if we go to service level and then right away we go to budget, we don't have enough time to really talk to the community and see what's going on and bring some of those ideas forth. So we have service level, and we don't really have much time to like really discuss how this program's gonna work. It needs a reset. It's not like we're gonna say at service level, yes or no, this is how the program is going. We need to figure out how we wanna organize that program. If we're gonna fund it the same way, is it gonna have the same, you know, framework that it had before? Because I think there was some ways we could do it a little differently.
I guess for myself, sorry, Councillor Phillips, I know you were reaching there. If we want to look at redoing it, revamping it, those conversations, I guess we would need to instruct admin as to what we want to see before it comes to a meeting, in my opinion. That way we can kind of give our thoughts as to what we want to see in it, then have it drafted and have it come back to us. I don't know if we'll be able to do that for September 14th because we're not having a GPC meeting until that point for it to come back to council for the approval of that. So I think for myself, I'm okay with leaving it till service level, and then we can make sure we have the time to really have a good conversation about it. That's just my two thoughts. If anyone else has anything they'd like to add, Councillor Phillips.
Yeah, just if this was a different time of the year, I think Mayor Bates's comments could work. I think just because our September GPC meeting is overloaded from the sounds of it already, and then service level is in October already. So I think we're, just from a time constraint point of view, that's why it kind of needs to go to service level. Just, I don't think this would be able to fit into the September meeting because it's full.
Councillor Hutchinson?
I'll make the motion then that council advises admin that we would like to bring back the Youth Advisory Council bylaw to service level review.
Thank you for your motion. Mayor Beach?
I think because we're busy in September isn't a good enough reason not to discuss it before service level. And with school starting in September, you know, it would be a key time to discuss it in a public meeting that's, you know, available for anyone in the community to watch so that we can start getting some uptake on this project.
Okay, thank you for that. Councillor Musker?
Yes, thank you. Is there any way that we can get some feedback from previous participants or guidance counselors before we go into service level, just so we have something to talk about and consider? Yes, please.
Go ahead, Ms. Quinlan.
I was just gonna say, I've made a note to discuss with the CAO. If we take it to service level, we'll try to do some analysis before we bring it and bring you some documents, and I don't know if there'd be a survey, but give you some things to discuss and consider.
Okay, thank you. Councillor Musker?
I just wanted to thank Betty.
Okay, so we do have a motion on the table. If there's no further discussion, I will call that to a vote. Does anyone need a reminder of what the motion is before I call it? Okay, Councillor Hutchinson, if you don't mind.
Be it resolved, the council add a discussion to the service level review regarding the Youth Advisory Council.
Thank you. So any further discussion on the motion? Mayor Beach?
I just want to say one more thing along the same lines, is that I hope the service level review doesn't become like the September meeting where it's so busy, we don't get things, we don't have enough time. It's you know, as we put everything off to that, you know, we're going to have a healthy discussion there. So that was just my last comment.
Thank you. So if there's no further discussion, I'll go ahead and call that to a vote. Those in favor of the motion? And none opposed, and that is carried. Thank you, Councillor Hutchinson. So moving on to 8.3, we have the 2024 June quarterly financial update. And with that, we have, I'm looking for your last name, Michael. Vandeveld, Mr. Vandeveld. Please go ahead.
Good morning, Your Worship and Council. I'm going to be going through the June 2024 financial update and analysis. So financial reporting for the Town of Rocky Mountain House will be provided on a quarterly basis to provide financial oversight to Council. Quarterly statements will be presented for March, June, and September following the close of each quarter. A yearly analysis will be presented upon completion of the audited financial statements. The attached statement provides an overview of operations for the 6-month period ending June 30th, 2024. We'll go over the statement of operations, a variance analysis, a capital statement, and the capital project listing, reports, and financial activities for the town. These reports are intended to give a high-level overview of activities and identify variances that are occurring for the 6 months ended June 30th. There are some of the accruals that have been recorded to reflect the timing of receipts and expenditures to provide an estimate of activities occurring to June 30th, 2024. For example, net taxation has been recorded at 50% of budgeted revenue to reflect this revenue as earned evenly over the year. And just a reminder that the basis of accounting used in these quarterly statements is a little bit different than the year-end financial statements. So as you can see from this statement here, the statement of operations results in a net budget operating surplus to June 30th of $112,000 compared to June 2023 of $128,000. So you'll notice that very consistent operations year over year. Revenues are at 48% of budget compared to 55% of budget in June of 2023. Some of the key variances in revenues are return on investments continues to be high from increases to interest rates over the last year. Interest on deferred capital revenue is up on June 30th. Interest on deferred capital revenue is at $253,000. That's allocated to deferred capital projects. Recreational sales and fees are exceeding the budget due to fitness passes and memberships being ahead of budget. Grants, federal, provincial, local, have been recognized at 50% of budget to accrue evenly throughout the year. Grants include FCSS grant revenue utilized to June 30th. Other revenue also includes $68,000 related to asset sales. And then there's a $58,000 in asset cleanup and write-offs for assets that are no longer with the town. Expenditures are at 48% of budget compared to June 2023 at 52% of budget. Administration is at 50% of the budget. Some costs occur in the first half of the year, such as mailouts and audits. Protective services mainly consist of police contracts and fire contracts, which are recognized in these reports evenly throughout the year, but paid in installments at the end of the year. Operations and infrastructure are at 49% of budget, slightly under budget due to more expenditure occurring in the summer and fall months. Utilities are at 47% of budget. And some of the reasons for this are power and repairs and maintenance are under budget. Social services include FCSS, and most FCSS grants to other organizations have been distributed in the first few months of the year. 210,000 in the current year out of the 404,000 budget number. Planning and development are tracking to budget. Recreation is also tracking to budget. Culture is at 47% of budget. The library grant of 367,000 in the current year versus 353,000 in the prior year. This has been prorated over the year, so only 50% is recorded. Parks Division expenses are at 37% of budget compared to 34% in 2023. Parks activities are seasonal to the summer months, therefore this is expected. And now we'll go through the capital activities and the capital statement. The total capital budget for the year is $34 million, with $26.2 million of this being for the wastewater treatment plant. Other project budgets total $8.4 million. Expenditures to date to June 30th are $4 million, with $2.8 million being for the wastewater treatment plant and $1.2 million for other projects. The total project expenditures for the wastewater treatment plant are $9.5 million. The 2024 costs are $2.8 million. The total budget for this project is $30.8 million. Construction is anticipated to be completed in late 2024 or early 2025. Some of the other capital projects that have been incurred to the second quarter are the columbariums and the splash water park for $95,000 each, some small equipment for $78,000, the tennis courts for $45,000, Street 4A street, $44,000, a plow at the airport for $42,000, flooring at the arena for $30,000, and bush clearing at the airport for $31,000. So now that I've gone over the capital and operating statements, are there any questions from council and your worship?
Go ahead, Mayor Beach.
Thank you very much, Chair. Thank you very much for your report, Mr. Van de Velde. I have a question about our next net taxation of 50% to reflect evenly throughout the year. So I understand why we're doing that. We collect all the taxes at the end of July, but we budget that across because that's part of our budgeting. But my question is, what is our percentage of collection for that period of time, right?
So I think the budget is at $12.2 million, the budget, and I believe outstanding is 2.8, 2.6, right? Compared to last year, it was 2.2 or 2.3 outstanding. So
Okay.
there's like $500,000 more outstanding this year as compared to last year.
Okay.
Just to add to that, also remember if there's people on tips, they don't pay, they pay evenly over 12 months. So even the 2 million outstanding, and I don't know the
Right.
number that's for tips, but that would bring down the actual outstanding amount again.
Okay, so, yeah, thank you. That was my question. And so we don't know the difference of, if it could be all tips, it could be nothing. Do we know?
We could break it out, but yeah, we haven't done that yet.
Yeah, I was just curious because we're getting a lot of feedback that people are having a very difficult time making making ends meet. And I'm just wondering if that's going to be reflected into our property tax collection.
Yeah, and we were curious about that as well, and we did notice that 400,000 or 500,000 increase, but there has been an increase in the number of subscriptions to tip, right? So we're not quite sure where that 500, whether that's more tip subscribers or if that's people having financial difficulty.
Okay, thank you so much. so my last question, it's in the same area, is how many, because normally we get this information sometimes, how many outstanding are in default? Like, so they've been outstanding for more than, I don't know what our, I don't know what our trigger point is when we start doing the next steps. I'm sorry,
Yeah, I believe there's two.
just
That
two?
we're looking at, yeah.
Okay, good. That's excellent, because remember there was a time when there was like more than two.
I think a few years back there was more, but that was because they hadn't been sort of, you have to manage it on an annual basis. Our tax clerk does work exceedingly hard with people if they get into arrears to get them onto like an agreement to work at reducing it. So it's improved dramatically.
Thank you very much. That answers all my questions, and I appreciate your hard work on the financials, everyone.
Thank you, Mayor. Do we have any other questions for Mr. Van de Velde? If not, I am looking, oh, Counselor Phillips, go ahead.
If there's no further questions, I'd like to make a motion that council accepts the June 30th, 2024 operating variance, capital, and capital project listing reports for information.
Thank you for your motion. Do we have any discussion on the motion? Seeing none, I'll call that to a vote. Those in favor? And none opposed, and that is carried. Thank you so much. Okay, so moving on, we have 8.4 that was added to the agenda today, so I'll turn that over to Counselor Phillips.
Yes, thank you, Deputy Mayor. So the AB Munis Committee's uptake has started, and I just wanted to let council know that I have applied for the same two committees that I applied for last year, the Safe and Healthy Communities Committee and the Small Communities Committee. They will be determined in late September as to who gets the nod on these committees.
Good luck. Mayor
Thank
Page?
you.
Do we have to make a budget adjustment for that? Because how does that work for when he's getting committees that are not listed on our October list? After he gets selected, do we make budget adjustments and allow them and do a vote on it? How does that work?
Counselor Phillips?
I believe these are through AB Munis, not through the towns themselves for are you talking remuneration?
Yes.
Yes, I believe those are through AB Munis.
Okay, thank you. That answers that question. I was just curious if we had to do a budget discussion. And then, like, I know that you were on CAPE. How does that work? Does that have to be budgeted in? Or was that accepted when you announced that you were part of that committee?
The CAPE would be through our own remuneration. The AB Munis would be through AB Munis.
And so, just a question, have we made a motion to add that to our October list of remunerated positions yet? We should maybe add that to the agenda if we haven't done that yet.
I don't see that being any different than I also sit on the executive committee of the Parkland Regional Library Board system, which is falling under the Parkland Regional Library Board committee appointment.
We'll review it and then come back, but, yeah, so.
It's just because we're talking about budget today, and it would be different if you were the CAPE committee member, which I don't know if you are or not, but, you know, like, because you're the Parkland Library person, until Ken, like, I don't know how that's gonna all work. So, if you could look into that, that'd be great. Thank you.
Counselor Hutchinson?
Thank you. I was going to bring it up later on in my report, that I've been appointed to the Cape Tourism Board. But as I understand that, those are our own choice outside. It's not part of a town commitment. So I didn't expect to be getting remunerated for those committees. So I don't know if that's something we wait, like Mayor Page said, until October and review. I just, again, I wanted to be on it so that we have a voice with Kate, but I didn't expect to get remunerated for it.
Mayor Page?
Well, I think then it comes down to if you're allowed to go, kind of thing, because it's out of town. I specifically remember a previous instance where it was an issue, And so, yeah, I'm fine if we could just follow up and let us know how that all works. I appreciate that. Thank you.
Well, thank you for that. So I think we're just looking for a motion then to approve for, yeah, accept for information. If someone wants to make that motion, Councillor Ald?
I'll make the motion that we accept Counselor Phillips' 8.4 as information.
Thank you for your motion. Do we have any discussion on the motion? Seeing none, I'll call that to a vote. Those in favor? And none opposed, and that is carried. So moving on, we have 8.5, free rec fees, and I'll turn that over to Councillor Hutchinson.
Thank you. So with our community event committee, we are doing our Alberta Day event on August 31st. And we have a meeting this evening, so it hasn't come out to the committee yet. But I would like to propose that the town rec facilities be open for free to the public on Alberta Day. It's kind of a give back to the community. I know our rec director is not there tonight, but I had mentioned it to the CAO. So having said that, if council is in approval, we would need the motion to say that council approves free rec admission for August 31st. And again, I don't know what that looks like because I know it's a Saturday, so the pool is only open limited hours. And I'm not sure if the ice surface should be in on one ice, but if the other ice would be open for, you know, they've got the drop-in play events and things like that.
It's my understanding that there will be ice on one of the surfaces, so there'll only be one arena surface free.
Okay, thank you. Do we have any discussion on that from council? Mayor Beach?
So I don't know how we'd make our motion, like we just say that it's free, but how do we put a budgetary dollar to that? Do we know our regular number of patrons that we could like budget for? Because it's a budget number. We know the date, we know what we're doing, but usually we need to have a budget amount. Do you have any idea, Councillor Hutchinson, what, because you're on the rec board, have you asked, like, what is our normal Saturday from, because it's open from, like, it's open from, that it's open the same every Saturday, you know?
Go ahead, Councillor Hutchinson.
We haven't got those numbers. Part of the Community Events Committee is to give back to the community. They've done for, I think, Canada Day, it was a toonie swim. Sometimes they'll bring the movies and things like that. So it was just more to give back to the community. It could be structured free swim between this time and this time. We're not sure. I don't see that there would be a budget number because we wouldn't have to be, it wouldn't be like the community events is going to be paying for all the admissions. It would just be a free event.
Mayor Beach?
It still is a budget thing, because I still think it's a budget thing, because if we give free ice to someone, anyways, it's fine. I'm happy with. Okay. So my other question is when are we going to start advertising this community event? A lot of other events are already happening on that weekend, and I know it's a little bit ahead of your report, but you know, if we're going to be doing that, I think we should somehow let the public know.
Go ahead, Councillor Hutchinson.
Thank you. We actually have the poster ready. Another committee member and myself met with Communication Department on Thursday to go over the advertising plan and where it's going to go and how we're going to start. We do have a community event committee meeting this evening at 4:30. Anybody is welcome to attend if they wish to get information and see exactly what we're doing. Once we have that approval, then we'll be going ahead with starting with the advertising. Communications has set up a guideline for us, as we had to also include that with our application for the Alberta Day event. And it also will be advertised with the province their deadline is August 12th to have the information to them so that it will be advertised provincially as well. That answers the question.
Thank you, Councillor Hutchinson. Is there any further discussion on this? If not, I'd be looking for a motion.
I thought she gave the motion already.
Did you did give it? Oh, okay, thank you. Any further discussion on the motion? Councillor Alt?
I just want to say, I think it's a great idea. We also have the funds coming from the government to put on this event, and I think it's a great way to give back to the community, so I'm definitely in favor of it.
Thank you. Any further discussion? Okay, seeing none, I'll call that to a vote. Those in favor? And none opposed, and that is carried. Thank you. So moving on to correspondence for action 9.1. Councillor Musker, yes, go ahead, please. Step out. Okay, so 9.1 Confluence Heritage Society 1799 Gala. So it looks like an invitation to their 225 celebration series, where they have asked for someone to come and speak at the event, which I believe, starts at 6 p.m. I am available to speak at the event, if anybody else from council wishes to attend as well. I think that would be fine. So do we have to let them know how many are coming in advance, I believe? Okay. Does anybody else want to attend this? Councillor Hutchinson?
I would be interested in attending, but I would pay for my own ticket. There's no need for unless they're giving one to you plus a plus one. But just let me know on that part, otherwise I'll just purchase my own ticket.
Okay. Any other, Mayor Page, sorry.
I'm sorry, I'm unable to attend that day. I have a previous engagement.
Okay. Anybody else from council wishing to attend? I'm fine as well to pay for my own ticket. I'm not sure if there is tickets given or not, but I have no issues paying for my ticket, and I can go and say some words, so. Okay, just looking for a motion then. If someone would like to make a motion for that. Councillor Phillips?
Yes, I'd like to make a motion that Deputy Mayor Caprero and Councillor Hutchinson are both approved to attend the Confluence Heritage Society event at the National Historic Site.
Thank you. Okay, that sounds good. So moving on to 9.2, I guess we can have, Mayor Beach. No?
So we haven't voted, and I would like us to add Councillor Musker on that. I'm sure he's already part of that, but
Onto the motion?
yes, please.
Oh, yes, sorry.
Yes, I would be willing to add that to my motion, to add Councillor Musker.
Thank you.
And also, if Councillor Schippel's available, as he's not able to, we could reach out to him to see if that date works for him.
Sure. Okay, so any further discussion on the motion? Seeing none, I'll go ahead and, Mayor Beach, do you have anything else? Okay, thank you. Go ahead and call that to a vote. So those in favor of the motion and none opposed, and that is carried. Okay, now we can call Councillor Musker, I think, back in. Still no?
No, because we're now going to talk about the grants.
Oh, the grants, okay. Sorry. Ms. Breeze, go ahead.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor and Council. So this is a little bit of an interesting core for action because we lumped everything together because they're all related. So we have two applications, one for the community grant, but we also have one for sponsorship. So it all comes out of the same fund. So in reality, council should only be perhaps approving one out of the two. So I did go back and talk to the one that applied for the application and said, which way would you like administration to move forward with council? And we went through the pros, the cons. So one thing council has kind of hesitated is approving any grants out of town. So having said that, if you go to sponsorship route, which is $1,000 as well, they're gonna advertise that the town is promoting it. And they're asking, well, again, it's the same amount, but they're also going to throw in some free tickets, so that would probably cover all of council's entry into the event as well. So, and then there would be less work on the end of the actual recipient, because then they don't actually have to provide proof of the application being funded, because the proof would be actually at the sponsorship of the event. So it's totally up to council which way they would go. My suggestion would be probably to go to the sponsorship, because then that would promote the town a little bit more, and you actually get some tickets out of it. So it's kind of a win-win situation either way, of which way you would look at it, so.
Okay, thank you for that. Go ahead, Mayor Page.
I think that's a great idea. I think we talked about this a couple years ago of doing something for $17.99 because we're 225 years old and it's a huge milestone. This is the reason why we're called Rocky Mountain House, is because of the fur trading, and it comes up quite often. I think the sponsor package makes the most sense for the same amount of money, that we would do through the community grant form. And also, I was wondering if instead of giving the tickets to council because they're willing to pay for those, if we somehow did a contest on social media and gave those free tickets away to members of our community.
Okay, thank you for that. Do we have any other discussion on that? If not, I'm looking for a motion, please. Mayor Page?
I can make a motion to do the sponsorship package for the $17.99 gala and offer any free tickets up to the public through the communications department at the town of Rocky Mountain House. Oh, do I need a dollar value? Is it 1,500? I'm sorry, I've lost that number. Sorry, for $1,000 in the motion.
Okay, thank you for your motion. Oh, Councillor Hutchinson.
Thank you. Just a question, do you have a kind of something in mind to help give admin on what a giveaway would look like? Any ideas for that?
Yeah, well, companies do it all the time on Facebook, like this ad, and I'm sure communication knows how to promote free tickets.
Okay. So if there's no further discussion on the motion, I'll go ahead and call that to a vote. So those in favor of the motion and none opposed, and that is carried. Thank you. I think now we can go ahead and call Councillor Musker back in. Go ahead, Mayor Page.
I just wanted to let you know that we've done $1,000 for the gala sponsorship package, and we've said that you could represent the town as well as work there if you're so entitled to. Inclined to.
Thank you, council.
Okay, moving ahead, 9.2, we have the community grant application for the Rocky Lions Club. Ms. Breeze, did you want to talk about that at all?
Thank you, Deputy Mayor. So this basically is promoting the demolition derby in town. That's been happening for years. And that's really about it. Basically, they're hosting this event. It's their biggest fundraiser of the year, and all money brought in goes to the community by ways of bursaries, grants, disaster relief, and more.
Thank you for that. Do we have any discussion? Go ahead, Mayor Page.
I think this is a great community event. It's always very well attended. It's just packed there. It's kind of exciting. It's fun to go to. I encourage all of council to attend if they have time. And so I'm totally in favor. I believe it's their 46th or 47th. I know I have the T-shirt for the 45th. So it's been there, done that, got the T-shirt, yeah. So, so I'm really in favor of this. I think it's a great community event, and the money goes back to our community anyways, so I think I'm really in favor of this.
Any further discussion? Counselor Phillips?
No further discussion. I was just going to make a motion. I do agree with this. It's a great community event. So I'd like to make a motion that we allot $1,000 to the Rocky Lions Club for the demolition derby.
Thank you for your motion. Do we have any further discussion on the motion? Seeing none, I'll call that to a vote. Those in favor? And none opposed, and that is carried. So we have another one here, 9.3, community grant application from CS3 Hockey Development. Ms. Breeze, if you want to touch on that.
Thank you again, Council. So this one's, again, a little different. We have another charity hockey game. They are booking the ice, but they almost have two separate events going. So they're booking the ice, but they're also doing like a little promotional thing in the book, the Subway Room, for like a meet and greet. So I did encourage them to possibly, since there's more than one team involved, to apply for 2 grants, because it is 2 separate kind of events, but they have put it in one application. So you will see on the actual application form, it does say they're asking for $1,000, but then there's a letter attached to it as well for a little bit more additional information. So basically this hockey game proceeds. We were going to give back to the community, so sponsoring the Hospice, Mai Tai, Rocky Trail Blazers, and the CS3 Hockey Development Association. And then they were also asking if council could waive the fee, the day use fee for the Subway Room. So as it states in the letter, this room is going to be used on September 6th for local minor hockey coaches and local sponsors to meet and greet the coaching staff. Then after the game, the kids can meet the players, and then basically have a supper together in the room. So that's what the extra room's being used for. Again, it doesn't quite fit the maximum for the 1,000, but again, it's up to council's discretion.
Okay, thank you for that. Do we have any discussion on this application? Counselor Musker?
Yes, thank you. I'd like to see us stick with the $1,000 ceiling and figure out what's the most advantageous way for this organization, whether it's the $200 being waived and then $800 as a grant, or the full 1,000. I would let administration figure that out for them, but I would like to stick with the $1,000 ceiling.
Okay, thank you. Mayor Beach?
I agree with Councillor Musker, and I think the $1,000 ceiling is sufficient for this event. There's a lot of hockey events go on during the year.
Okay, thank you. Any other discussion on this? Counselor Hutchinson?
Thank you. Would this one have an opportunity to do it as a sponsorship as well? Or has that discussion didn't even come up? No?
Councillor Hutchinson, through Deputy Mayor, no, that wasn't even an option. Maybe that's something they can look at in the future, to actually have a sponsorship package like everybody else. I don't know if this is like a one-time thing. It's not your typical, your RCMP during fire sponsorship one. So this is the first time I've seen this. I don't know if Councillor Phillips can speak on that, if you've ever seen this, since you're involved with our hockey world so much. Is this like a one-off, or?
To me, I think this may be a one-off. I have talked with Dale Paul, who's the organizer of this event. Anytime you can get university level hockey, in small towns like this, it's rare. You can't even find referees for a game like this in our community. You've got to go to Edmonton and Calgary for it. So to be able to bring that kind of level hockey here, and then have the players and the coaches meet with our minor hockey players and coaches, I think it's a great thing for our community, and I'm definitely in support of it. But I don't know if this would be a yearly thing or not, but to me it would more like a one-off.
Okay, thank you for that. Do we have any further discussion on this? If not, I'm looking for a motion. Councillor Phillips?
I would like to make a motion that we approve the $1,000 grant for the CS3 hockey group. Is that? Yes, okay.
Thank you for your motion. Do we have any further discussion on the motion? Seeing none, I will call that to a vote. Those in favor? And none opposed, and that is carried. Thank you. Okay, moving on to 9.4, we have Rail Safety Week 2024 proclamation request. Ms. Breeze, did you want to touch on this one too?
Wasn't prepared for that, but I sure
Oh,
can.
sorry.
So we do have a proclamation from, like you said, CN Rail, I believe, or for Rural Safety Week in 2024. So one thing we've taken note of is we aren't actually following the proclamation policy very well, so we will be bringing it back to one of the upcoming meetings for council to review. But they have supplied basically the proclamation for the actual safety week, so that is one of the requirements. So just a standard proclamation.
Okay, thank you. Mayor Beach.
Thank you, Chair. They do this every year. There's a lot of accidents and deaths, and because we have a rail line that goes through our community, they're just asking us to promote being more cautious around. I know in our neighboring community of Eckville, they've had a number of fatalities, and so thankfully we haven't had fatalities in Rocky Mountain House, but you know, it's the same rail line that goes through. So I think, you know, promoting rail safety in our community, it's just a request they do every year, but they don't always have it in enough time so that we can promote it. So I'm in favor of this proclamation.
Thank you. Councillor Hutchinson.
Thank you. I'm not opposed to this, but I do think, and Ms. Breeze, you said that it is coming back, or because I would like to suggest that it definitely the proclamation policy come back for review, because I think we've come up with this, I think 3 or 4 times in the past year. So if it's coming back, I don't need to make a motion for that.
Okay, thank you. Do we have any further discussion on this? If not, I'm looking for a motion. Mayor Beach.
I can make a motion to do the Rail Safety Week 2024 proclamation for the town of Rocky Mountain House.
Okay, thank you for your motion. Do we have any further discussion? Seeing none, I'll call that to a vote. Those in favor? And none opposed, and that is carried. Moving on, 9.5, we have the Cape Luncheon, Summer Luncheon, August 15th, 2024 in Black Falls. Mayor Beach, go ahead.
Yeah, I have a question if this interferes with my sanctions to be able to attend that luncheon.
I don't think that they're, oh, Councillor Hutchinson, go ahead.
I think we'd have to pull up the wording on the resolution, but I thought it said no Cape or, what was the other one?
Central
Mayors
Alberta Mayors and Reeves.
Association.
Yeah, so this is a luncheon. It's just a summer luncheon. It's not a committee meeting. That's why I'm asking for clarification. Y'all made the sanctions up, so what was your intention, that I don't attend a luncheon where they're gonna, you know, do a tour of something? Or is it I'm not allowed to attend any events? It's almost like it's a PR event. That's why I just wanted clarification, right?
Go ahead, Councillor Musker.
Thank you. I think the sanctions were that Mayor Beach did not represent the town of Rocky Mountain House at any functions. I don't have a problem with her attending something like this, not as the mayor, as a representative of the town, but certainly as a member of this council.
Councillor Hutchinson?
Thank you. I think this is another one that we should be bringing back for events for remuneration in October again. Cape has a number of these kind of things, and should we be reimbursed for them, or is it, like the mayor just said, basically a PR event? So a review of what we, maybe, I don't know if that's a review of our remuneration policy, or if it would be at our organizational meeting. I'm kind of looking for help.
So, Councillor Hutchinson, through Deputy Mayor, the council remuneration policy will be coming back at the organizational meeting, but we have added it also to the service level for discussion.
Thank you.
Is there any further discussion? I think for myself, when it comes to the sanctions that have been placed, they're not asking for the mayor to speak or to say anything. So I think for myself, if the mayor wanted to go, I am okay with that as well. Because it is for a lot of communities and there isn't anyone being asked to speak. I guess it just depends on how the rest of council feels about that.
I'm
Councillor
fine,
Phillips?
I'm fine with that.
Okay. So if somebody wants to make a motion. Go ahead, Councillor Hutchinson.
I guess my thoughts are if it's just to go for PR, and we kind of questioned this last time, we typically do resolutions to be reimbursed for our expenses for out-of-town events. So do we need motions? Like, I may attend this, I haven't decided yet, but if I attend it and pay my own fee, why do we need a resolution for it? So I'm just looking for clarity on that.
Ms. Quinlan, are you able to help us out with that at all?
So I think if I can help, yeah, that if it's a PR event and you buy your own ticket, just make the resolution to say that if anybody wants to go, it'll be a PR event and they pay for their own ticket. Otherwise, we still need a motion to clear it off the agenda today. So if that's the motion you want to make, that's fine. If you want to make a motion where the town pays for the ticket or it comes out of your thing, then that's fine too. Just need a motion for however you want to go forward with that.
Councillor Hutchinson.
Okay, I can do that. So be resolved that any council member who wishes to attend the Cape Summer Luncheon will do so, or may do so at their own expense as a PR event.
Thank you for your motion. Do we have any further discussion on the motion? Seeing none, I'll call that to a vote. Those in favor? And none opposed, and that is carried. Does anybody want to take a break now that we're an hour in, or do you want to keep? Yeah? Okay. I'll call a 10-minute break at 10:01. Thank you. Okay, so we are back and moving on with the agenda. We are at correspondence for information. So does anyone have anything between 10.1 and 10.6 that they'd like to bring up and highlight? Councillor Phillips.
Yes, just item 10.6. I just wanted to highlight that. It's awesome and very, very encouraging to see that our senior team has got the award from AB Munis. And I just wanted to congratulate, I know it looks like Betty's our member of our senior team here, but I just wanted to congratulate our whole senior team for getting this award. It's a kudos for our team, showing that they're doing a great job, and AB Munis recognizes that, so well done.
Thank you very much. And just, I mean, we really appreciate the award, and I've met with my staff, and I'm sure the other managers have as well, and said, it's not just the senior management team, it's
Yes.
everybody that contributes to making this organization, but thank you very much.
Okay, Councillor Hutchinson.
Yeah, I just wanted to touch base on the community events committee. As I said earlier, we'll be meeting Tuesdays at 4, the next 3 Tuesdays in a row, if anybody wants to attend to give some input or to volunteer or just come see what we're doing. We have, like I said, the poster is going out. We've got the Métis local attending with some jigging and some displays. We've got the historic site coming out, bringing displays and some story time. We've met with the library to help with crafts. The historic site's also bringing their games. We've got the fire truck 49 lined up for display. We'll have the bouncy castle with the
Face
kids
painting.
zones with all the games and face painting and things like that going on. We have a couple food trucks that'll be on site. And we have confirmed that we are doing a movie. So that'll be happening in the football field at 8:30 that night. We haven't confirmed on what the movie is going to be, but we're also looking at having popcorn for sale there and possibly the ice cream vendor to be on site for that as well. A great group of people on the committee, and I just want to thank them all for their enthusiasm because, man, they got a lot, so.
Thank you. Mayor Bache, and then I'll go to Councillor Musker.
I see that you're still looking for volunteers, is that correct?
We'll discuss more of that this evening so that we know who we need where. And Sarah was working with Andrea at FCSS
FCSS?
on some volunteers there. So again, there'll be more to report after a meeting this evening.
No, if somebody wanted to volunteer, I send them to Andrea at FCSS.
Yeah, or if somebody wanted to volunteer, like I said, they could just stop in at a meeting, so we could let them know. That's at the Rotary Room on the next 3 Tuesdays at 4 o'clock.
My last question was, what is your backup plan for Alberta weather? Will you still be doing the movie and the thing if it rains?
The movie company would be the ones to basically make the call. And what's really, really great about this company is that they give you 100% credit to postpone, to put the movie to a different night whenever they see fit.
Well, I was just curious if you would move it to the arena on the same day, like one of the empty arenas. I'm just curious what your backup plan was.
No, the idea was an outdoor movie and bring lawn chairs and stuff, so I can certainly bring that up tonight if
Yeah,
that's a suggestion.
I'm unable to attend. I'm just curious. It's fine if that's no problem.
Okay, thank you. Councillor Musker.
Yes, thank you. I just want to say to Councillor Hutchinson how impressed I am with, just reading the minutes and everything that's coming together for this, to you and the rest of the committee members, just your commitment to making this a success.
Thank you. It kind of happened quickly with getting the grant from the government. We didn't expect for our first event to be so large, but it's exciting. And like I said, with this group, there's ideas coming left, right, and center for more events that just bring the community together.
Awesome. Anything else that someone wants to bring up? If not, I'm looking for a motion. Mayor Beach?
I make a motion to accept for information, the correspondence 10.1 to 10.6.
Thank you for your motion. Do we have any further discussion? Seeing none, I'll call that to a vote. Those in favor? And none opposed, and that is carried. Moving on, 11.1, we have the Mayor Beach report, committee report, activity and committee report, sorry. Mayor Beach, is there anything you'd like to highlight in your report?
No, thank you.
Okay, does anyone have any questions or anything for Mayor Beach? Looking for a motion to accept for information. I can make that motion. I'll go ahead and make the motion to accept the Mayor Beach report for information for July 2024. Any discussion on the motion? Seeing none, I'll call that to a vote. Those in favor? And what's the word I'm looking for?
Carried.
Carried. Oh my gosh, it just left my mind. Okay, so moving on, we have the council activity and committee reports, 12.1. Councillor Auld, anything you'd like to highlight?
No, it's been a quiet month for me. I've been doing some holidaying.
Thank you. Councillor Hutchinson, anything you'd like to highlight?
It seems like it was forever ago that we went through all of this. So I discussed the Community Events Committee, the appointment to the Cape Tourism Board. We had a Market on Main. We had Reeve Michelle Swanson and Councillor Brian Cermak attend with Councillor Phillips and myself. The Alberta Japan Twinning Municipality anniversary celebration I thought was a great success. There was a lot of time and work put in by that committee, a lot by staff. And a big thank you to that. Everything went over well. It sounded like the delegates had a really good time, and they had a hard time getting them to bed that night to get their bus at 7 the next morning. So it was a good event.
Thank you. Does anyone have any questions for Councillor Hutchinson before we move on? Councillor Musker, anything you'd like to point out in your report?
Nope, nothing.
Okay, thank you. Councillor Phillips, anything you'd like to highlight?
Just one highlight. The Cape Transportation and Logistics Committee met, and one of the first things we're doing is updating a study that was done in 2015 for the House Pass. And the study is basically on the economic benefits and the benefits of the House Pass. But in 10 years' time, that has changed a little bit. So that is the first thing that we're doing, is updating that report to get new numbers on economic benefits of it. And then moving forward, we have another meeting in 2 weeks from now. And basically, we're looking at getting the First Nations communities on board first. That's one of the most important things, and that is going to be happening. We have one of the chiefs sitting on this committee as well. So I think it's a good committee to be on, because this is a very, very important corridor for Rocky Mountain House. So I'm glad to be on this committee and glad to see that we're moving forward. Excuse me.
Thank you. Does anyone have any? Oh, Councillor Musker, go ahead.
Yeah, just about the Transportation Committee, will you also be considering the safety aspects of another road through House Pass? Just because, we see what happens with the forest fires in Jasper and egress out of that area, right? So I'm just curious if that's another avenue that's going to be considered.
Absolutely. That's one of the topics as well, is that it's a safer route. And when we do have unfortunate things that happen in Jasper, or when Highway 1 gets closed for avalanches or rock slides, it allows for another route for transportation and public to go through. And even the transportation route itself, going from central Alberta and even central Saskatchewan, if you take House Pass route, it actually takes away about 100 kilometers off of your trip. So the savings in gas alone and diesel for these trucks would be astronomical over the course of a year. So there's a lot of logistics that we're talking about, safety, of course, being one of them, many other things, rail, potential, different things going through there as well. So it's quite interesting to be on that committee.
Thank you. Just for myself, I don't have my report here. I am just getting back from being away. I don't have anything to point out, anything different from anything anyone else has spoken about. So yeah, with that, just looking for a motion from someone to accept. Mayor Beach?
It has to be me.
Oh, okay.
I'd make a motion to accept 12.1 activity and committee reports for Councillor Auld, Councillor Hutchinson, Councillor Musker, and Councillor Phillips.
Thank you for your motion. Do we have any further discussion? Seeing none, I'll call that to a vote. Those in favor? And none opposed, and that is carried. So moving forward, we have the action list, 13.1. Ms. Quinlan?
I'm not gonna go through each item, but basically, all the items are in progress. There's been a few that have been completed and taken off, but administration will continue to work on these and bring them forward on the dates identified.
Okay, thank you so much. And does anyone have any questions in regards to anything on the action list that Ms. Quinlan might be able to answer? Okay, otherwise I am looking for a motion. Councillor Phillips?
I'll make a motion to accept the action list as presented.
Thank you for your motion. Any discussion on that motion? Seeing none, I'll call that to a vote. Those in favor? And none opposed, and that is carried. Moving forward, do we have any administrative inquiries this morning? Mayor Beach?
I'm just wondering if, with a little bit of temporary flooding in Edson over the weekend, if anyone from the town of Edson has reached out to us for any assistance.
I haven't heard anything on that, so not that I'm aware of.
I've had a number of comments in the last 2 weeks about the Jasper situation. Has the Alberta government or any municipalities reached out to us for that?
No.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Do we have any other administrative inquiries this morning? Kate, do we have any notices of motion this morning? All right, so with that being said, I will go ahead. Go ahead, Mayor Beach.
I'm sorry, I'll be leaving to go to a funeral now, so I won't be attending the closed session.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you for letting us know. So looking for, do we want to have another break? I don't think we need one, do we? Okay. Looking for a motion to head into closed session. Councillor Phillips.
I'll make a motion that we move into closed session.
Thank you for your motion. Any discussion? Seeing none, call that to a vote. Those in favor? And none opposed, and that is carried. Thank you. So we are back from closed session now, so we do have one resolution coming from it, so I will turn it over to Councillor Phillips.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor. So I'd like to make a motion to instruct administration to do more investigation for item 16.2 that was in closed session today, and bring it to the August 20th meeting, council meeting in closed session.
Thank you for your motion. Any discussion on that motion? Seeing none, I'll call that to a vote. Those in favor? None opposed, and that is carried. So that being said, we have reached the end of our meeting for this morning, so I will go ahead and adjourn.